Travel forecast north of the Mass Pike, so again allow some extra time. As we look at our upcoming days here, we're allowing for much more milder conditions to emerge here, certainly by Sunday. The jet stream will be cruising north of the region to allow for milder air to come in from the south. We'll push our temperatures up above freezing, so we're still going to be below average again today for an afternoon high. But the next several days we're going to be above average here, and we actually haven't seen the 7-day forecast reflect this in quite a while. Low 60s and sunshine for Monday and Tuesday, and look at that, the Holy Cross right now still clearing out.
And this weather is not done, nor are we. We'll continue our coverage on CBS News Boston.
Join us there on the stream, or CBS Morning starts right now. Drive safe this morning. Have a great weekend.
Now, streaming on CBS News Boston. This is WBZ News Mornings.
Right now on CBS News Boston, a hazardous commute is going to be likely for us here on this Friday, everybody. Sleet and rain continuing the rate through the region. Your forecast ahead in just seconds.
We've already seen a number of crashes from the slick conditions, highly localized. We've got team coverage of everything you need to know before you hit the road.
Plus, more drone strikes cause damage across the Middle East as Iran pushes on with retaliatory attacks. The message President Trump has for the nation as they choose their new supreme leader.
And Karen Reed due back in court today. The next steps in her civil case as she fights to get her cell phones back.
We have a look for you at Fitchburg. You can see the snow there north of the Mass Pike. Roads are a mess this morning. Good morning. Thanks for joining us on this Friday, March 6th. I'm Paula Eben.
And I'm Chris Tanaka. We've got team coverage for you of this next weather alert. It is a messy, snowy, sleety, rainy, icy mix out there, Paula.
Other than that, how's the play, Mrs. Lincoln? We're leading to a dangerous commute here north of the city. The map is just covered with accidents.
Yeah.
We have live team coverage to help try to keep you safe as you head out the door. Let's start with Jason Michael and talk about our next weather forecast. It's the next 6 hours we have to get through.
It is a tongue twister type of a morning here for our Friday morning, everybody, with a multitude of issues as Chris was delivering there. We have a lingering clouds across the region as well this morning in areas north, but also still dealing with some sleet, drizzle, and even snow showers as well. Let's talk about the conditions outside here Friday as you get prepared here. Let's focus in on the temperatures right now because the temperatures are sort of dictating the conditions outside, certainly north of town. We have 20s widespread and even the upper 20s here in the city. We've actually slipped down from 34 degrees in a matter of 3 hours here in the city, and that's because northerly winds are settling down into the area. Mid to upper 30s, areas south and east, where most of the rain showers have been continuing since midnight earlier this morning. Most of the snow showers and sleet is winding down, which is excellent news, but it's been a matter of hours they've been dealing with this really unsettled weather there. The tail end of the system is beginning to pull away, and it's going to be right inside the 495 belt again this morning. The Merrimack Valley from Lowell over to Lawrence, still dealing with a quick burst of some snow showers there. And even as you get down south towards the Braintree Split, a little bit of freezing rain and some sleet down there also. South of Scituate, just some lingering light shower activity, lingering fog also developing areas south of Marshfield below 2 miles in visibility. Cape Ann, Essex County, you're talking about a half-mile visibility there for you. Inside the 495 belt, closer towards the city, about a 4 to 5 mile visibility. Raw conditions for the remainder of our Friday, everybody, not getting out of the 30s today. It's going to be the coldest of the next 7. We'll talk about the rest of it coming up. Chris and Paula, back over to you.
All right, sounds good, Jason. Checking out the roadways this morning, and we're showing you this map because, oh boy, there's a very clear line of where all of the problems occur this morning. North of the Pike, just a mess. Listen to this. Crashes on 95, 495, 93, Route 3, 128, Route 2. Also a couple on the Pike. There have been spinouts, cars going off the roads into the guardrails. And this, a jackknife tractor trailer in Chelmsford. 3 lanes blocked on 495 northbound, right at exit 89 for the Lowell connector. Oh, traffic is squeezing by, and they're also working on cleanup due to a large fuel spill in the area as well. So it's going to be a while before all of this clears. And again, up in the Merrimack Valley, specifically Andover, crews are out last night pre-treating the roads, trying to avoid this mess.
Yeah, WBZ meteorologist Alyssa Andrews has been in Andover all morning long, and you're right there in that area, Alyssa, where the changeover happens, and we've seen from this jackknife tractor-trailer accident, you can really drive into a new town, new city, and you're in a completely different weather pattern.
That's exactly right, Paula. I mean, even in a short 3-minute span, you can go from an area, and this happened to us on our morning commute coming in from the station in Boston. We started out in that rain area. I actually brought my umbrella. I've got the winter hat. I've got all kinds of gear ready for each different level of precipitation, which we've seen all three here in Andover this morning. And right now we're seeing a little bit of a lull in activity. A few flakes still flying by, but actually if you look at the skyline, you can even see a break in the cloud cover right now on radar. I've been tracking this on my pocket radar on my phone, but we've got some mixed precip here. And I will say, I think Andover, if you look at the roads and the conditions, they've done a great job clearing things out. Other places, not quite so lucky, a little bit messier. There's just been a zillion crews going by. And right, it's about that time of the winter season. This has been a long winter for us. We've seen storm after storm after storm, including a blizzard just a week and a half ago. So we are now well versed in the winter storm activity. I think everyone is, again, maybe a little snow fatigued, ready for now that we're a week into meteorological spring, yet here we are again dealing with snow. I can say the good news is from about the 8 to 9 a.m. hour, that's going to be when the threat for the sleet and freezing rain is going to be starting to wrap up. And then after that, road conditions will be improving tremendously as we get closer to the lunch hour. So there is really good news coming up. This is going to be very short-lived, but I think it's just, you know, on top of everything we've been through this winter, we're ready to see the snow exiting later on today.
Oh, let's hope this is it. All right, Alyssa, thanks so much. There are already dozens of school delays this morning. Kids in Worcester public schools have the day off again because of this messy mix this morning. Right now, you're looking at the campus of Holy Cross. Levin's going to have a live report from Worcester for us coming up in just a few minutes.
And this morning is the perfect example of why you need to download the free CBS News app when you head out the door this morning. Go ahead, scan that QR code on your screen right there. Then make sure you set the default station to CBS News Boston. That's where you get the latest weather forecasts, up-to-the-minute information 24/7.
We have an update on breaking news we've been following overnight in Roxbury. Everyone is safe after this fire broke out at a large 3-story home. Firefighters responded to Hestia Park about 2:45 a.m. They say 4 people are displaced now, but thankfully no one was injured there. Turning now to the U.S. and Israel war with Iran. New video of a massive plume of smoke over Tehran today following Israel's pledge to launch a new wave of strikes on the Iranian capital. Early this morning, the U.S. military said it hit an Iranian drone carrier.
Yeah, Iran is still weighing who it will choose to lead the country, but President Trump says he wants to play a role in that decision. Jared Hill is in New York with more.
Explosions rocked Tehran and Beirut early Friday as Israel announced a new wave of punishing strikes. The Pentagon also released footage of a U.S. strike blasting a suspected Iranian drone carrier at sea. U.S. defense officials now say hundreds of targets deep inside of Iran have been hit in recent days, and that President Trump has ordered them to raise Iran's ballistic missile industrial base.
We're not just hitting what they have, we're destroying their ability to rebuild.
But Iran is not letting up on its retaliatory strikes, bringing other nations into the conflict.
We are being attacked, so we have to fight back.
In interviews with Axios and Reuters Wednesday, President Trump said he expects to have a role in choosing Iran's next supreme leader after Ayatollah Ali Khamenei was killed in last weekend's strikes.
The United States will ensure that whoever leads the country next, Iran will not threaten America or its neighbors, Israel, anybody.
The concurrent resolution is not adopted.
The onslaught in the Gulf as House Republicans defeated a measure meant to rein in the president's ability to use force on Iran, one day after a similar resolution failed in the Senate. Jared Hill, CBS News.
And the violence is affecting everyone from Wall Street to Main Street. The Dow dropped nearly 800 points yesterday after the threat of a prolonged war. Oil prices jumped to their highest level in nearly 2 years. And for all of our coverage on the war with Iran, head to our website, WBZ.com.
Karen Reed is heading back to court today for a hearing in the civil case brought against her by the family of John O'Keefe. Now, Karen Reed's legal team is asking for this hearing to address an emergency request by the O'Keefes for a temporary restraining order to keep Karen Reed from getting her cell phones back. Now, they were taken during a witness intimidation investigation into the blogger Aidan Carney, known as Turtle Boy. The family wants those phones analyzed because of a recording of Reed. They say, allegedly, she says she was, quote, dead because of what's on those phones. But Reed's lawyers say Reed did not say that, and the recording is illegal. They also say a judge had already denied a search warrant for the phones. You can watch the proceedings live starting at 9 on our streaming service, CBS News Boston. Also this morning, we've learned why the auction of Karen Reed's SUV that was set for earlier this year didn't happen as planned. Our partners with Mass Live say that's because radio host and Boston Herald columnist Howie Carr wants to preside over the sale. So the auction is now being held in May.
Well, just ahead this morning on CBS News Boston, the latest on the search for a person missing after a boat capsized off the Cape.
You got a fast car. We go cruise and entertain ourselves. Still ain't got a job. Now work in the market as a checkout girl. I know things will get
You better slow that car down in this weather. Live look at Newburyport, and you can see sidewalks coated in snow. You can actually see it coming down up there, and the roads look a little slick. Whew, my. All right, Jason, we've been watching this all morning long. People trying to get out the door to their commutes. Some schools closed, some opening on time. It's just this like big stew of conditions out there.
Yeah, it's pretty messy here. We had a bit of a kitchen sink here, Chris. Over the past 24 hours or so, it's mainly been confined to the past 12 hours with wet weather moving into the region. We've had a lot of issues outside on the roadways again this morning. Snow showers, freezing rain in areas north as well, and even some heavier rain showers still lingering mainly down towards the South Shore. But we're actually improving in terms of conditions as we begin to move towards the noon hour today as we head into the early afternoon as well. One of the things that we also have to remember here, friends, is we have to allow for the drier air to begin to take over. And that will also allow for conditions to improve, especially for the travelers. A lot of our weather watchers have been up and at 'em since earlier this morning, so let's check in with them and also begin to talk about the temperatures. Low 30s outside as of right now. We've seen more of the 20s to begin to pop up here, but a wet and slick start to the morning will allow for a more stable afternoon on this first Friday of the month of March. This is a live look at satellite and radar right now. Some of that freezing rain and icy potential is beginning to lurch south across the South Shore. But again, that is what radar is showing. What I'm also seeing here is conditions at the surface in terms of temperatures are above the freezing mark. So even though radar is showing that, it's not necessarily happening. What is also happening again this morning, a sure advance there is more fog is beginning to push east as well. As the drier air settles on in, a lot of the fog begins to push on out even further. So we're actually going to have some improving conditions. It'll just likely feel more raw as we head into the afternoon. Widespread conditions will allow for lingering clouds as well. So we're not actually going to have a beautiful sunset later on this evening here. 5:40 will be our sunset, but it's going to be shrouded behind a lot of clouds. And that's how we actually wake up for our Saturday morning, with temperatures poised to climb into the mid-40s by the afternoon. We actually wave goodbye to our winter weather advisory. It is set to expire today at noon. I think it's going to expire here over the next hour or so. So we'll wait to update you from that information from the National Weather Service. Mid to upper 40s here, a milder late afternoon for us here tomorrow. More 50s and also clearing skies for us ahead come Sunday. We actually have a cold front swinging into the region tomorrow. It is not really going to dampen the conditions outside here, but will also throw some extra rumbles our way by Saturday evening. So if you hear that, if you ask me, that means sign that spring is going to be moving on in here pretty soon. That cold front advances area south, clears our skies out to allow for more sunshine by the end of the weekend as we head towards early next week. The upper 50s on tap as we spring forward, gaining an hour of daylight coming for us on Sunday. 6:42 will be our sunset time for us here on Chris on Sunday. And as we look for Monday and Tuesday, low 60s with sensational sunshine, increasing clouds, showers developing by midweek, but still mild with temperatures in the 50s.
How about that? All right, Jason, thank you. Certainly been a rough winter across New England, but especially in Worcester. This morning's storm has public schools closed again there. Levin is out there this morning checking on the conditions. And Lev, it's been interesting because when you got out there early this morning, you said rain, then it started to slicken up a little bit. What's it like right now?
Well, the city of the Seven Hills can say that the winter of 2026 has been a little bit for them. And right now, I can actually tell you, Chris, it's gotten a little bit warmer, and we're starting to see another changeover where things are starting to kind of melt, and the ice that was on the street in the slick spots are still pretty slick, obviously, but it's not as slick as it was maybe up to even just an hour ago to 30 minutes ago. Cars are kind of getting by, and I think a lot of people are still on their way to work, but those who left early because of the threat of bad weather and trying to get there before everything started to happen and giving themselves some time, the roads they seem to be easing up a little bit. You still get a chance to see a ton of trucks that are sanding and salting that are walking through here. Luckily, as we've mentioned before, and as you've just mentioned, schools closed in this area, about 100 schools, and you get a chance for the roads to be not as busy as they would normally be. We have seen people come by and workers come by to salt and ice down and just kind of the walkways to make sure that people who are walking or they're able to, they don't slip and slide. But there hasn't been that many people walking. In this area that we are, which is on Belmont Street at the Irving gas station, it's just more people driving. And even when they make this turn right here, as you see this car coming through right here, you can see that ice is now more of a slush as it's getting warmer out. And that's what's happening here. It's a good thing because you've mentioned, we've seen Brianna talk about the traffic issues that she's had on the other side, and maybe north of us there's a little bit more weather. Here in Worcester, where they always get just really, really bad weather, I would say that they've been lucky today. Today is one of the few times they can say they've been lucky. There's not a lot of fog out. The freezing rain is basically stopped, and now it's just kind of spitting here and there. So for the time being right now, this is as good as it's going to get, and this is pretty good right now here in Worcester. Chris?
Yeah, that is a good update. All right, in real time. Lev, thanks so much. Yeah. Hey, the Coast Guard searching for a missing crew member after a fishing boat capsized off Provincetown. Search teams first received a report about a problem with the Yankee Rose around noon yesterday. There were 2 people on board at the time. One was found unconscious, rushed to the hospital. This, by the way, the second problem the vessel has had in the past week. Last Thursday, 2 people on board were treated for carbon monoxide poisoning. A Boston bar will have its license briefly suspended because of a private party which the owner says involved Patriots players. Boston's licensing board issued Estella a 3-day suspension. It'll only serve one of those days so long as it stays out of trouble for the next year. The owner of Estella told regulators Patriots players were holding a large party at the bar in late January, and that's when police discovered the violations. They were accused of serving alcohol after hours, allowing smoking, and hosting unauthorized entertainment. Well, Foxborough's Select Board says an offer from Kraft Sports to cover part of the security costs for the World Cup simply isn't enough. The town is threatening to withhold an entertainment license needed by FIFA unless it gets the nearly $8 million it'll cost to cover public safety expenses up front. Yesterday, Kraft Sports said it was willing to put up some of the money until a federal grant comes through. The chair of the town select board responded to the offer saying there's no agreement and the Kraft Group's offer, quote, will not suffice. Hey, tonight could be the night Celtics fans have been waiting for all season. The Celtics have listed Jason Tatum as questionable, which is unquestionably good news. ESPN is reporting the star forward's been fully cleared and is expected to make his season debut against the Mavericks at the Garden tonight. If he does so, it'll be his first game back since tearing his Achilles tendon last year. It also means he'd complete his comeback in less than 10 months. Tatum has said he wants to make his return in Boston. Of course, with the Celtics about to head out on a 3-game road trip after tonight, the timing all makes sense. We'll be covering that throughout the evening. Hey, an historic accomplishment by Boston's professional women's hockey team. Yeah, for the first time ever, the Boston Fleet has completely sold out TD Garden. That's nearly 18,000 tickets sold for the April 11th game versus Montreal. Excitement for the Fleet's been growing and hit a new high after some teammates helped Team USA take home the gold at last month's Olympics. Of course, the Fleet's winning record has also helped. They beat the New York Sirens last night 1-0 thanks to a steal and goal by Ella Huber. Goalie Aaron Franklin made it stand up with a shutout win, 23 saves. Just ahead this morning on CBS News Boston, promising results from the MBTA on its efforts to crack down on fare evaders.
WBZ's next weather alert is brought to you by Safety Insurance.
Well, the MBTA says it's collecting more commuter rail fares despite ongoing gate problems at South Station. General Manager Phil Eng says ticket validation is up more than 40% from December. The T's been cracking down on fare collection across its system over the past year. Eng says he has no plans to raise commuter rail fares right now, but instead is just focused on making sure everyone pays for and is activating their tickets. Well, Stonehill College is buying a 150-acre golf course in Easton. How about that? College leadership says the course at Easton Country Club will serve as the new home for the women's golf team and help establish a new men's golf program. The course will also maintain its semi-private status and will be available to golfers who are not connected to the school. A Cambridge company says it's developing a non-invasive at-home treatment for Alzheimer's disease. Cognito Therapeutics says patients will wear a headset device for an hour every day. The headset will provide visual and auditory stimulation designed to preserve brain function. Our partners at the Boston Business Journal report the company has raised more than $100 million from investors. The device still needs FDA approval. Coming up next, a new miniseries breaking streaming records. We'll tell you the iconic Massachusetts family at the center of the story.
You're watching WBZ News.
Endangered blue whales are making history, spotted off Massachusetts 2 days in a row. Yeah, researchers with the New England Aquarium shared these photos taken off Cape Cod and Martha's Vineyard last week. They say it's the first time they've been spotted this far south, which could be a good sign for future studies. Hey, the new miniseries about the Kennedy family is breaking major streaming records. Yeah, the network FX says Love Story, John F. Kennedy Jr. and Carolyn Bessette, is now its most streamed limited series on Hulu ever. FX says the Ryan Murphy show has been streamed more than 25 million hours since the season premiere last month, and streams have also consistently gone up as the series progresses. The show centers around JFK Jr. and his future wife Carolyn meeting and then falling in love. Still to come in our next half hour, a bride-to-be loses her wedding photographer weeks before the big day. This morning she's out thousands of dollars, and she's not the only one.
CBS News Boston is now streaming live on our YouTube channel every morning from 7 to 10 a.m. So if you're watching us streaming on YouTube, please like and subscribe to our channel, CBS News Boston. Now, streaming on CBS News Boston, WBZ News Mornings continues with your top stories.
Kristi Noem out as Secretary of Homeland Security. What happened that may have been the last straw, and who is going to replace her? Investigators identify the body of a man found dead in a Shirley pond. The teenagers who made the discovery, what they had to say. And a stranger caught snooping around houses in South Boston. I'll tell you why police are investigating a series of break-ins. Live look at downtown Fitchburg here, thanks to Fitchburg Access Television. Welcome back. I'm Chris Tanaka. Want to get a check of that next weather forecast with Jason Michael. Still messy out there, Jason.
Still messy, my friend, absolutely here, but we're left with some drier conditions beginning to tiptoe back into the region. You saw there from that cam there in Fitchburg. We are allowing for drier air to take over, friends, but again, keep this in mind. We've actually been dealing with a lot of wet weather, snow, sleet, and freezing rain, ice in several locations since about yesterday evening. Roughly around 8 to 9 p.m. It's kind of taken foothold across the region. So we're left with some gray skies again. It's just going to be an ugly day, unfortunately. We're allowing for a 5 p.m. sunset, 5:40 p.m. sunset later on this evening here, friends, and the raw conditions will be continuing. It will not be our best and brightest to complete the work week, whereas we are going to be expecting more of the 30s to complete the day today and perhaps even lower 40s. So kind of where we are right now is kind of where we're going to end the day today. Winds are a little bit busy in some areas. You can see they're roughly around an 18 mile per hour sustained wind coming in out of the northeast. This is a very unsettling and a very moisture laden sort of wind right now. So dew point temperatures are right around the sort of air temperatures this morning. We call that spread between the dew point temperature and air temperature the dew point depression. Okay, so it measures the moisture in the atmosphere. And we've seen a lot of fog beginning to push inside of 495. Areas north and also areas south of the city with the poorest visibility, including the Cape. So this is the loop for the past 3 hours or so. Notice the improving conditions to begin to take over southern New England. A lot of the wet weather is moving on out. Areas west of town right now, you'll see there a drier radar scan left with lingering clouds here, Chris. We'll talk about the milder conditions ahead for your Saturday, your Sunday, and certainly next week. We'll focus on that coming up in the full forecast ahead.
All right, sounds good, Jason. We continue to follow breaking news. A jackknife tractor trailer in Chelmsford. 3 lanes blocked on 495 northbound. This is right at exit 89, the Lowell connector, Route 3. Traffic is getting by. They're working to clean up fuel due to a large spill. This is going to be a while before it clears. We'll continue to monitor the scene, bring you the latest when we get more right here on CBS News Boston. Across the state, crews are out overnight pre-treating roads. This was from Andover. I actually caught up with some drivers who say they're just done with winter.
It's been ridiculous. I think I've shoveled my driveway maybe like 12 times already, like multiple times per storm at this point. It's been a lot for sure.
Well, this is the first major personnel shakeup in President Trump's second term. Kristi Noem fired as Homeland Security Secretary after a controversial year. President Trump has nominated Republican Oklahoma Senator Markwayne Mullin as her replacement. CBS's Jared Hill with a closer look at why White House sources say Noem's drama led to the change.
Just 20 minutes before Kristi Noem took the stage in Nashville.
Good afternoon, everybody. How are you?
Introduced as Secretary of Homeland Security, President Trump posted on social media a change in her role, moving Noem to Special Envoy for the Shield of the Americas. It's the first major staffing shakeup of Trump's second term. An administration source tells CBS News replacing Noem was, quote, based on the culmination of her many unfortunate leadership failures. Among them, the fallout over how she falsely described the actions of 2 Americans killed by immigration officers in Minneapolis earlier this year.
It was an act of domestic terrorism.
She's a living, breathing article of impeachment in terms of the abuse of power and the corruption.
Sources also cite this series of ads.
I'm Kristi Noem.
Starring Noem and clocking in at $220 million. Some of that money went to a company run by the husband of Noem's former spokesperson, all raising eyebrows for even some Republicans during her Senate hearing this week.
Did the president know you were going to do this?
Yes.
He did.
But President Trump said to Reuters, I never knew anything about it.
The president, when he called me Tuesday night, the night of the hearing, when he was mad as a murder hornet, he asked me what I thought about Markwayne.
That's Markwayne Mullin, the junior senator from Oklahoma, a former rancher and MMA fighter.
We're going to get Department of Homeland Security making sure that we stay focused on protecting the homeland.
Now President Trump's nominee to take over DHS. Jared Hill, CBS News.
Well, some Massachusetts school districts are worried they could face millions of dollars in funding cuts because of falling enrollment rates. The Massachusetts Education Justice Alliance says the decline is being driven by concerns about immigration enforcement crackdowns. The districts with large immigrant student populations are the hardest hit. According to the state, there were 7,000 fewer English learners enrolled in Massachusetts schools in 2025 than the year before. Schools are calling on state leaders to use funds from the millionaire's tax to help bridge those funding gaps. Well, investigators have identified the man whose body was found in a Shirley pond. A group of teenagers first spotted the remains in a pond Wednesday afternoon. Divers actually recovered several body parts from the water. One teen tells us they had been playing in the snow near the Maritime Veterans Memorial Bridge when they made the discovery.
One of the officers, EMTs got his gear on, got in the water, and you could just, see his face drop, and he got all pale, and then he was like, yeah, it's a real leg.
Investigators used fingerprints to identify the victim as 69-year-old Peter Deegan. They say he had been living at a pre-release house in Rockland after serving time at MCI Shirley. They believe he was targeted. Anyone with information is asked to call police. Well, Boston police are asking for the public's help to track down a man attempting to break into homes in South Boston. Now, we first told you about this earlier this week. WBZ's Christina Rex spoke with a neighbor whose security camera recorded the suspect.
Take a look at this home security video. It shows a man start to walk up the stairs to a South Boston home until he sees the camera.
He saw the camera come on and hid his face and turned around and took off.
The cameras belonged to homeowner John Marecki. He just installed them last week after multiple neighbors reported that a man broke into their homes in the last few weeks.
Just peeked in the window upstairs, but the kid was home and scared him off. But then behind us, he was standing inside their house and just watching them in their bedroom.
This all happened in the area of Telegraph Street. Boston police are investigating the several break-ins, and it's unclear if the same person is behind each one.
It's crazy, just kind of creepy and scary that people just start, breaking in the houses and it's crazy. It's just crazy.
Marecki says nothing has been stolen, and in his nearly 20 years living here, he hasn't seen anything like this.
Not like this. Not like this. I mean, you're in the city. People are going to steal stuff, break into your car or what, but nothing like this.
The craziest part, he says, how brazen the break-in.
It's crazy that he just saw people were home. There was lights on in my house and lights on downstairs, and he was still trying to come in the house.
In South Boston, Christina Rex, WBZ News.
When we come back, Americans scrambling to get out of Israel. We'll tell you about an organization that's evacuating citizens. Why do we need this reinforcement? Of course we can't stop the rain. Jason, Mother Nature needs to make it stop, please.
She's been running her mouth way too much this morning,
Yes.
if you ask me. But we have some good news here, Chris. I want to start out showing you some good news, my friend. We can't stop it, but we're just wishing, hoping, and praying. Much of the drier weather beginning to take over and reinforce a lot of the more stable conditions for the remainder of our Friday here, friends. However, we have awakened with some really unsettled weather. What we are left with again after the overnight rain, snow, and sleet and ice conditions there will be some lingering clouds for the remainder of our Friday here. Temperatures are in the upper 20s, believe it or not, this morning. Even when I came to work earlier this morning, we were kind of hanging out around 34 to 35 degrees. We've actually sliced off about 4 to 5 degrees since then, and that's been in a matter of about 4 hours or so. As we actually start to look at the rest of our Friday here, we are allowing for the 30s just to continue here with east-northeast winds settling down into the region. These are not only colder winds, but actually a little bit more moist type of winds as well. So we're actually keeping our dew point temperatures kind of elevated right around the surface temperatures right now when you're just talking about the air parcels. So modest fog overspreading Boston right now. Inside of 495 from Bedford down through the Boston area. Lingering snow showers now beginning to push off of the Cape right now. You can see even some lingering spot showers also beginning to wind down. I'm speaking mainly about Cape Ann, then talking about the South Shore there. Still with Boston, red around radar is actually fetching in some mixed precip as of right now. Don't even worry about that because I think a lot of the urban conditions here and around the city are still warmer than the freezing mark. Certainly when you're talking about some of those warmer conditions in and around the urban parts there. As we start to see the North Shore beginning to wind down and dry out, the South Shore will following suit right behind that as well. We've seen roughly around a ½ inch of rain along the South Shore, in some areas pushing even further higher than that. I would say roughly around 6/10 of an inch there, getting near about 7/10 of an inch of rain showers. So we actually had a little bit less than we were kind of forecasting there, but still nonetheless travel was with a high impact. We will continue with 30s, unfortunately, for the remainder of our Friday, as I said before. The first Friday of the month of March, again, will allow for more of that raw field, but milder conditions and more stable conditions, and perhaps even some peaks for our Saturday will begin to develop and move on in. Speaking of our Saturday, here's our hour-by-hour forecast. More 40s expected as we near the noon hour for us here tomorrow. And as we look at the evening hours as well, we'll likely climb into around the mid-40s for the afternoon there. A couple spot showers will likely race through the region by tomorrow evening. That's because a cold front will be sliding down into the region. As of right now, our winter weather advisory is still in effect, but I'm expecting this to expire earlier than the noon hour already sort of proposed over the past couple days. So the upper 40s again today, mid to upper 50s for us on Sunday. Check out Monday and even check out Tuesday as well. The 30s today will become the 40s tomorrow, and the 40s will become the 50s as we spring forward on Sunday, adding an hour of daylight. 60s will take over thereafter for about 48 hours. And look at this, even Wednesday and Thursday, though we are tracking a little bit more of wet weather, mainly in the form of rain, the temperatures in the overnights will also be above the freezing mark, so it's very good to note here, Chris, by this time next week, a lot of that crummy snow outside will be gone.
Yeah, wow. Something to think about. Thank you, Jason. To war with Iran now, and a local couple who planned to return to Boston this week now finds themselves stuck in Israel. As WBZ's Aaron Parsegian shows us, the couple now getting some help.
We're in wartime. I hope there won't be any action while we're talking.
We talked with Shelley, a Massachusetts native, as she and her husband Dove rode a bus back to their Tel Aviv hotel.
We felt it was important. We needed to visit somebody.
The couple was expecting to fly back to Boston earlier this week. Now, like hundreds of thousands of other U.S. citizens, they're caught in the middle of conflict across the Middle East.
Preparing 250 meals.
In Israel, they've been volunteering while in and out of bomb shelters.
There were 2 sirens just during the 3 hours we were volunteering in the food kitchen. It was very urgent. People were running from all over because we knew this was serious.
With commercial air travel largely at a standstill, Shelley got a hold of the consulate to get on a list for flights being organized by the State Department. She says waiting a little longer is a better option right now than the alternative, a flight out of Egypt.
Very long ride. If there is a siren, if there is a missile attack, there's more risks. And I didn't want to take that.
I connected Shelley with a third option, Gray Bull Rescue, a veteran-owned nonprofit on the ground conducting rescue missions.
Lots of Americans are in bad spots, and all these places have closed airspace and they're trapped.
Founder Brian Stern has led teams in and out of conflict zones, facilitating the return of hundreds of Americans already.
Our demand signal is through the roof. We have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of requests of people asking us for help. We did 100 something today.
Whether through a nonprofit or the U.S. government, Shelley is hopeful they'll be back home safe soon.
I'm a little bit more optimistic than I was a few days ago.
Aaron Parsegian, WBZ News.
Well, 24 states, including Massachusetts, have sued the Trump administration over the president's global tariffs. They allege the president exceeded his authority in imposing the taxes. The lawsuit centers on 10% tariffs that Trump said he would raise to 15%. The states argue that the tariffs violate the Constitution's separation of powers principle. Well, New England has spoken. Dunks isn't going anywhere. Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. responded to Governor Healy and Dunks customers after extreme backlash. Remember, he said he might pull certain ingredients from the market. He's now taking a lighter approach, saying, quote, "No one's taking away your Dunkin', but isn't it reasonable to ask whether a drink loaded with 180 grams of sugar is safe?" You can ask. Moving on to sports, the NHL trade deadline today at 3 o'clock. The Bruins position, well, they could be buyers or sellers. They were in Nashville last night, and the Predators scored 3 goals in just 4.5 minutes in the second period. Oh. Bruins lose 6-3. They've dropped 6 in a row on the road, have only a 1-point lead for the second wild card spot. The Bees host the Capitals tomorrow afternoon. How about some spring training in Florida? Sox and the Phillies yesterday. You'd just love to see it. The team's missing more than a dozen members who are all participating in the World Baseball Classic. Phillies wind up winning 6-2. The Sox will face the Tigers at 1 o'clock today. Well, a Holden woman says she lost thousands of dollars when the company she hired to photograph her wedding suddenly shut down. As WBZ's Penny Commute explains, she's one of dozens of brides left scrambling for a new photographer before the big day.
These filings from Texas bankruptcy court show that the owners of Yours Truly Media filed for Chapter 7 bankruptcy on February 26 with more than $2 million in debt and hundreds of creditors.
We were lab partners in high school, and then we met up again later on in life.
A love story a decade in the making. This May, Kelsey Brenner and her fiancé Ben will officially tie the knot. The Holden bride has been planning her wedding for over a year. A once-in-a-lifetime moment she's dreamed about since childhood. But the company that Kelsey hired to capture those memories suddenly went out of business.
I don't like yelling, but I was like, what am I gonna do?
Kelsey says she booked a photographer and videographer through Yours Truly Media over a year ago. Then she was left scrambling just 85 days before her wedding.
I immediately went to Facebook and the brides pages, and just so many women were coming together trying to make warnings about this company.
Kelsey says Yours Truly Media never refunded her over $3,000 deposit and that she's filed a complaint with the Attorney General's office.
I've started working per diem within my company, like extra days and extra hours to try to compensate for the lost funds because I don't want to be in a bad financial place going into the wedding.
Thankfully, the couple was able to find last-minute replacements, but Kelsey says this whole ordeal added unnecessary stress to what should be one of the happiest times in her life.
It was just disgusting. It was awful, and I feel for every bride that's in my position as well.
We've reached out to attorneys for Yours Truly Media, but have not yet heard back. In Boston, Penny Commute, WBZ News.
Coming up after the break, getting ready to spring ahead. A new proposal to get rid of daylight saving time for good.
You're watching WBZ News.
Hey, daylight saving time begins this weekend. Clocks spring ahead an hour early Sunday morning. Annual time change unpopular with Americans. A recent YouGov poll found 64% of people would prefer for the practice to end. A Florida lawmaker has proposed an alternative. He wants the U.S. to split the difference by eliminating daylight saving time and moving standard time zones ahead by 30 minutes. The bill's been referred to the House. I'm Chris Tanaka. You're watching CBS News Boston. We'll be back after the break, but first a look ahead to 8 o'clock. Karen Reed heading back to court today. The dispute from her legal team over the O'Keefe family's civil suit. And we're keeping our eyes on the road, the sleet, the rain, all of it, creating a really bad morning commute. We've got team coverage when we get back.
Four minutes to 8, our weather alert continues for the overnight conditions, allowing for a very slow travel again this morning, using some caution. Temperatures and conditions will remain raw and chilly across the board. Mid to upper 30s for afternoon highs. Those 30s will become 40s tomorrow as we start to climb above average. We're going to have a string of conditions remaining above average, again springing forward on Sunday, and 60s will take over for Monday and Tuesday.
All right, Jason, we got an update on breaking news from Roxbury, a home going up in flames there. Firefighters responded to a large 3-story home on Hestia Park around 2:45 this morning. We are now told everyone got out of there safely, but 4 people have been displaced. CBS Mornings continues next here on WBZ. Well, the MBTA says it's collecting more commuter rail fares despite ongoing gate problems at South Station. General Manager Phil Eng says ticket validation is up more than 40% from December. The T's been cracking down on fare collection across its system over the past year. Eng says he has no plans to raise commuter rail fares right now, but instead is just focused on making sure everyone pays for and is activating their tickets. Well, Stonehill College is buying a 150-acre golf course in Easton. How about that? College leadership says the course at Easton Country Club will serve as the new home for the women's golf team and help establish a new men's golf program. The course will also maintain its semi-private status and will be available to golfers who are not connected to the school. A Cambridge company says it's developing a non-invasive at-home treatment for Alzheimer's disease. Cognito Therapeutics says patients will wear a headset device for an hour every day. The headset will provide visual and auditory stimulation designed to preserve brain function. Our partners at the Boston Business Journal report the company has raised more than $100 million from investors. The device still needs FDA approval. CBS News Boston at 8 o'clock starts next.
Right now on CBS News Boston, a look from our next weather road tracker. We have already seen a number of crashes from the slick conditions. We've got team coverage with everything you need to know. Karen Reed's heading back to court today, the dispute from her legal team over the O'Keefe family civil suit. And will Jason Tatum make his return tonight? Why the timing could be right for his debut.
Now, streaming on CBS News Boston. This is WBZ News Mornings.
Well, good morning and thanks for joining us. It is Friday, March 6th. I'm Brianna Pitts. We're in a weather alert. There's been a mix of snow and sleet and rain and ice, and it's led to a dangerous commute for us this morning. We have team coverage to help get you safely out the door. Up in Andover, crews were out last night pre-treating the roads, and that is where we find WBZ meteorologist Alyssa Andrews this morning. Alyssa, what is it like up in Andover right now?
Hey, Brianna, good morning. So, I know we don't want to hear about yet another snowstorm, more sleet, more freezing rain, but here we are a week into March now. It's officially meteorological spring, and we've been dealing with the snow here in Andover. We've seen every single level of precipitation throughout the morning, so we had a little bit of rain, but mostly it's been on the freezing rain, sleet side, and certainly some snow showers. Now, the road crews here in Andover, I have to say, have done an excellent job. I mean, I've never seen such a good job covering up, getting rid of all the snow and the slush on the ground. Here's the kicker, though. It's still below freezing where we're at, and in many locations that saw snow this morning and that freezing precipitation. It's still temperatures at the surface are very chilly and below that 32-degree threshold, so there's still going to be some slick spots on the roadways. Another reason why our winter weather advisory goes through the noon hour. And here at this spot, I will say another part of the good news here is now that we're heading into the 8 to 9 a.m. time frame, this is when the threat of accumulating sleet and freezing rain is really starting to wind down. So that means road conditions are going to start rapidly improving because, as you've talked about all morning long, we've had plenty of crashes on the roadways due to this winter weather once again. So the good news is the closer we get to the lunch hour, as things are really largely dry here already, the road conditions will be following very closely behind that. Also, we know to the southeast, that was mostly dealing with southeastern Mass, an inch and a half, up to an inch and a half of rain. So it's more going to be the rain showers in that direction. And then remember, things freezing back over. So still some slick spots out there. But luckily, Brianna, we are talking about much warmer weather ahead as we get to the 60s and potentially even into the 70s for next week. So there is some good news on the horizon because I know we were all just sick of winter at this point.
Yeah, as we say, we are done, and we're looking forward to it. Thanks, Alyssa. There are already dozens of school delays this morning. Kids in Worcester public schools are getting the day off because of the storm. Right now, you're taking a live look at the Holy Cross campus, and Levin's going to have a live report from Worcester in just a little bit. But we want to get a check now of our next weather forecast with Jason Michael, and it's been a pretty challenging morning.
It has. It's been very, very busy here, as Alyssa was also reporting on up in Andover as well. From Worcester County and areas north, we're mainly talking about areas north of the Mass Pike, friends. This is where a lot of that unsettled weather has been, mainly for winter precip. Spring-like precip, when you're mainly talking about rain, drizzle, and sprinkles, has mainly been south of the Mass Pike, southeastern Mass, as Alyssa was leading towards that as well. A lot of the conditions are beginning to dry out, as Alyssa was saying there, and we're beginning to see that on satellite and radar, and also our live cam from the Museum of Science here. Cambridge over to the right, the Charles River right in the middle as well. And look at that Charles River beginning to break up, and we love to see that as well. 29 degrees here in the city right now, along with areas south in Norwood. Pair of threes in Providence, a few degrees warmer in New Bedford, 37 between New Bedford and also Hyannis. 1 degree warmer in Chatham, 36. You can see the buoys reporting just out in the harbor with 20s inland. We're dealing with northeast winds as of right now, friends, and that's mainly because we have an area of high pressure up to the north and east of us right now. So we're on the south side of it, and it's actually dragging down cooler northeast winds. So we're going to have a really raw-like feel as we head into the afternoon for afternoon conditions. Half mile for visibility concerns up in the Cape Ann, Essex County region again this morning. 3 to 4 mile visibility from the outer Cape back towards the city as well. Some really dense fog between Marshfield and out to, down towards the Falmouth region again this morning. But as we see radar and satellite improve this hour, that means we're moving in the right direction back towards stable conditions. We'll talk much more about the weekend and that milder weather we've been looking forward to. Coming up, Brianna.
All right, exciting. Jason, thanks. Let's get a check of our roadways this morning here. We got a big map up just to show you that most of the crashes are really north of Boston this morning right now. We'll go through some of them here. Crashes on 93 North in Stoneham and in Andover. We also have other delays on 93 through Medford getting into Boston. We also have a crash, let's see, the O'Neill Tunnel northbound, a crash blocking the left lane. Route 3 north of the city, a crash up in Bedford. Route 2 in Arlington, there's reports of 3 separate crashes right now blocking the right lane over at exit 131. Also crashes up on 495 in Merrimack that involve a tractor trailer here, Boxford and Burlington as well. So that gives you a really good picture of what the roads are like out there right now. When you head out the door, take WBZ News with you. Just download the free CBS News app. You can scan the QR code on your screen and then make sure you set your default station to CBS News Boston. You can get the latest weather, forecast, and news 24/7. Breaking overnight, a Roxbury home goes up in flames. Firefighters responded to this large 3-story home on Hestia Park around 2:45 this morning. We're told everyone who lives there got out safely before people are now looking for a new place to stay. In the war with Iran, new video of a massive plume of smoke over Tehran today following Israel's pledge to launch a new wave of strikes on the Iranian capital. Earlier this morning, the U.S. military said it struck an Iranian drone carrier. Iran is weighing who will lead the country. President Trump says he wants to play a role in that decision. CBS News' Jared Hill has the latest.
Explosions rocked Tehran and Beirut early Friday as Israel announced a new wave of punishing strikes. The Pentagon also released footage of a U.S. strike blasting a suspected Iranian drone carrier at sea. U.S. defense officials now say hundreds of targets deep inside of Iran have been hit in recent days, and that President Trump has ordered them to raise Iran's ballistic missile industrial base.
We're not just hitting what they have, we're destroying their ability to rebuild.
But Iran is not letting up on its retaliatory strikes, bringing other nations into the conflict.
We are being attacked, so we have to fight back.
In interviews with Axios and Reuters Wednesday, President Trump said he expects to have a role in choosing Iran's next supreme leader after Ayatollah Ali Khamenei was killed in last weekend's strikes.
The United States will ensure that whoever leads the country next, Iran will not threaten America or its neighbors, Israel, anybody.
The concurrent resolution is not adopted.
The onslaught in the Gulf as House Republicans defeated a measure meant to rein in the president's ability to use force on Iran, one day after a similar resolution failed in the Senate. Jared Hill, CBS News.
The violence is starting to have effects from Wall Street to Main Street. The Dow dropped nearly 800 points yesterday after the threat of a prolonged war. Oil prices jumped to their highest level in nearly 2 years. For all of our latest coverage on the war with Iran, just head to our website, WBZ.com. Well, Karen Reed is headed back to court today for a hearing in a civil case brought against her by the family of John O'Keefe. Reed's legal team asked for the hearing to address an emergency request by the O'Keefes for a temporary restraining order to keep Reed from getting her cell phones back. They were taken during a witness intimidation investigation into blogger Aidan Carney, also known as Turtle Boy. The family wants the phones analyzed because of a recording of Reed saying she was dead because of what's on them. But Reed's lawyer says that Reed didn't say that and that the recording is illegal. They also say a judge already denied a search warrant for the phones. You can watch the proceedings live starting at 9 a.m. on our streaming service, CBS News Boston. Also this morning, we're learning why the auction of Reed's SUV set for earlier this year did not happen as planned. Our partners at Mass Live say it's because radio host and Boston Herald columnist Howie Carr wants to preside over the sale. The auction will now be held in May. Foxborough's Select Board says an offer from Kraft Sports to cover part of the security costs for the World Cup isn't enough. The town is threatening to withhold an entertainment license needed by FIFA unless it gets the nearly $8 million it'll cost to cover public safety expenses. Yesterday, Kraft Sports said it was willing to put up some of that money until a federal grant comes through. The chair of the town Select Board responded to the offer, saying there is no agreement and the Kraft Group's offer will not suffice. Well, tonight could be the night Celtics fans have been waiting for all season long. The C's listing Jason Tatum as questionable, which is unquestionably good news. ESPN's reporting that the star forward's been fully cleared and is expected to make his season debut against the Mavericks at the Garden tonight. If he plays, this will be his first game back since tearing his Achilles tendon last year, and that means he'd be completing his comeback in less than 10 months. Tatum has said he wants to make his return in Boston. With the Celtics about to head out on a 3-game road trip after tonight, the timing makes sense. All right, just ahead this morning on CBS News Boston, the punishment for a Boston bar accused of a wild party allegedly involving Patriots players.
WBZ's Next Weather Alert is brought to you by Safety Insurance.
Welcome back, folks. Your weather alert is still in effect. Overnight conditions have left a lot of travel issues again this morning. We are still having a very cloudy start to our Friday morning, and a lot of the clouds actually going to continue throughout the start of the weekend as well. But notice temperatures. We're pressing on the gas here, friends. The mercury is climbing, and we are setting our sights on the mid to upper 60s, possibly in some areas south of southeastern Mass once we get towards midweek next week. This is all the wet weather that we were dealing with here since yesterday evening throughout the overnight. It allowed for a lot of snow, sleet, and also ice to accumulate from Worcester County north on Route 495, and as well as Route 2, Route 3 as well, 95 northbound, 93 northbound as well. And that's exactly where temperatures have cooled down below freezing again this morning. The mid to upper 20s there, mid to upper 30s area south. And we're just kind of hanging out around 40 degrees on Nantucket again this morning. Winds are out of the northeast as well, and that's mainly due to an area of high pressure up to the north and east of us as well. So we are keeping that 10 to 20 mile per hour wind speed in and around the area. And it's also bringing in just a little bit, just a skosh of moisture to the start of our Friday morning. Developing fog again beginning to erode away and lift on out of here. It's mainly inside 95, closer towards the city for the North Shore and the South Shore. That final batch of activity pushing well out into the Gulf of Maine, but it put down for around a half inch up to a 3/4 inch of rain showers. Most of the heavy rain was south of the Mass Pike. Now for the remainder of our Friday, friends, temperatures are going to be subpar. 30s will take over after the rain showers and that lingering precip begins to move on out. And this is kind of the stage we're going to be setting here over the next 24 to 36 hours. Perhaps we're going to have a low-level threat of having a sun peak for tomorrow. But by tomorrow evening, though, another cold front will set its sights on southeastern Mass and drag down maybe a couple rumbles by tomorrow night. Our winter weather advisory is still in effect here. The timeline for that cutoff is going to be noon later today, but I'm expecting it to erode away and be canceled here very soon with a lot of the wet weather moving on out. We'll be around 50 degrees in some areas again tomorrow. We're roughly going to gain roughly about 5 to 8 degrees for Sunday afternoon, putting us back into the upper 50s. Here's that cold front that I was telling you about for tomorrow evening. We're going to have south winds moving on in. These are warmer winds, also transporting more moisture into the region. This is why tomorrow's cloud cover is going to be really thick and really gray, and maybe even some fog emerging for us tomorrow. That cold front is going to be pushing some energy up right along the Atlantic coast there, so a couple rumbles by bedtime tomorrow evening. The cold front will continue to pass safely south and east of town, clearing us out for us on Sunday to allow much more brighter and warmer conditions to move back in. And my pick of the 7-day will likely be on Tuesday, with highs pushing into the lower 60s. Those 30s from today will become 40s tomorrow. 50s will take over. 60s will take over. And then as we enjoy those longer daylight hours, you can see there Wednesday and Thursday, though still mild, still filled with a little bit of moisture.
Well, it has been a rough winter across New England, especially in Worcester. This morning's storm has public schools in the city closed again. Levin has made his way out there this morning. Lev, we're wondering what the conditions like, and more importantly, how are the parents doing? Because I'm sure not well.
We always talked to some of the parents here at the Irving gas station, and they all are just like, I can't believe the kids are going to be in school until, maybe June, in the middle of June. It's one of those things where that's another day of school that's canceled here in Worcester. Through the morning that we've been here, we've seen the weather kind of get better, which is great. It was really bad when we got here. It was kind of raining, and then it turned to freezing rain, and the roads were very slick. As the temperature rose, as Jason mentioned it, you're starting to see all that slush, and now people are making their way to work in a normal fashion, so to speak. We haven't seen many cars skid, and I will say this about the drivers here in Worcester, at least where we are, they are actually taking their time on the road. That guy says, hello, Brianna. If you're looking about what people are doing now, a lot of people are just starting to to sand and salt the walkways. And even though we haven't seen many people walking, it's just later on, there must be anticipating people are going to be walking around, whether it be at the gas station or the different sidewalks here. There has been sand trucks, there has been salt trucks that have been all over the roads so far. But it's been good to see cars that were passing by, and all of a sudden they look clean, where before they had some snow on them. They had some participation. Right now they don't have anything. They just look like normal, like this car that's going through here, and that's good. And I will tell you this, Brianna, when people hear about the next several days and the weather getting warmer, everyone here that we've been able to talk to has said, well, finally we're getting a chance to get out of this this weather pattern that we're in. I feel like the events of weather today have been so many, from rain to freezing rain to sleet to nice weather. And when I say nice weather, I'm like, it's 32 degrees and it's not windy or raining.
Yeah.
And you're like, yes.
Yes, we've had to change our...
Back to you.
Yeah, we've had to kind of adjust our expectations for what's nice. But now we're actually going to have really nice weather coming up. I'm sure all those Worcester parents are going to be like, go play outside for the next week. Thank you, Evan.
And I'll say this, I need to see it first before I believe it.
Yeah, we'll set a camera up, backyard camera. All right, thanks, Levin. Hey, the Coast Guard is searching for one missing crew member after a fishing boat capsized off of Provincetown. The Coast Guard is searching for that member. Again here, search teams first received a report about a problem with the Yankee Rose around noon yesterday. There were 2 people on board at the time, and one of them was found unconscious and rushed to the hospital. This is the second problem the vessel has had in the past week. Last Thursday, 2 people on board were treated for carbon monoxide poisoning. Well, Boston Bar will have its license briefly suspended because of a private party, which the owner says involved Patriots players. Boston's licensing board issued Estella a 3-day suspension. It'll only serve one of those days unless they get into trouble again within the next year. The owner of Estella told regulators that Patriots players were holding a large party in his bar in late January when police discovered the violations. They were accused of serving alcohol after hours, allowing smoking, and hosting unauthorized entertainment. Just ahead this morning on CBS News Boston, a historic first for the Boston Fleet, how thousands of fans are showing support for the team.
You're watching WBZ News.
Well, a historic accomplishment by Boston's professional women's hockey team. For the first time ever, the Boston Fleet have completely sold out the TD Garden. That's nearly 18,000 tickets sold for the April 11th game versus Montreal. Fleet excitement has been growing, and it hit a new high after some teammates helped Team USA take home the gold at last month's Olympics. The Fleet's winning record also helping the fan base grow. They beat the New York Sirens last night 1-0 thanks to a steal and then a goal by Ella Huber. Goalie Aaron Frankel made it a shutout win with 23 saves. The NHL trade deadline is at 3 p.m. today, and the Bruins were in a position where they could buy or sell. In Nashville last night, the Predators scored 3 goals, and in just 4.5 minutes in the second period, Bruins fall 6-3. They have now dropped 6 in a row. On the road, they only have a 1-point lead for the second wildcard spot. Bees host the Capitals tomorrow afternoon. Spring training in Florida, and the Red Sox faced off against the Phillies yesterday. The team was missing more than a dozen team members, all participating in the World Baseball Classic. Phillies win it 6-2. Sox face the Tigers at 1 p.m. today. Coming up next, the MBTA seeing some big results from its fare collection initiative.
You're watching WBZ News.
Well, the MBTA says it is collecting more commuter rail fares despite ongoing gate problems at South Station. General Manager Phil Eng says ticket validation is up more than 40% from December. The T's been cracking down on fare collection across its system over the past year. Eng says he has no plans to raise commuter rail fares right now, but is instead focused on making sure customers are paying for activating tickets. Stonehill College is buying a 150-acre golf course in Easton. College leadership says the course at the Easton Country Club will serve as the new home for the women's golf team and help establish a new men's golf program. The course will also maintain its semi-private status and will be available to golfers not connected to the school. Still to come in our next half hour, suspicious behavior caught on a security camera in South Boston, why residents are on edge in the neighborhood.
CBS News Boston is now streaming live on our YouTube channel. Every morning from 7 to 10 a.m. So if you're watching us streaming on YouTube, please like and subscribe to our channel, CBS News Boston. Now, streaming on CBS News Boston, WBZ News Mornings continues with your top stories.
Right now on CBS News Boston, it's the first major personnel shakeup in President Trump's second term. A look at why Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem was let go. Plus, we'll show you a couple who plan to return to Boston this week that now find themselves stuck in Israel. And Robert F. Kennedy Jr. responding to Massachusetts governor in the brewing controversy over the health of Dunkin' drinks. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brianna Pitts. We are checking our top stories. Karen Reed is heading back to court today for a hearing in the civil case brought against her by the family of John O'Keefe. Reed's legal team asked for the hearing to address an emergency request by the O'Keefes for a temporary restraining order to keep Reed from getting her cell phones back. They were taken during a witness intimidation investigation into blogger Aidan Carney, known as Turtle Boy. The family wants the phones analyzed because of a recording of Reed allegedly saying that she was dead because of what's on them. But Reed's lawyers say Reed did not say that and that the recording is illegal. They also say a judge already denied a search warrant for the phones. Explosions rocked Tehran and Beirut today after Israel announced its latest wave of airstrikes in the war on Iran. The country's retaliating by reportedly striking Tel Aviv and Saudi Arabia and Kuwait overnight and this morning. U.S. officials are touting military victories, saying hundreds of targets have been hit in Iran and that President Trump wants the country's ballistic missile industry base destroyed.
Our munitions are full up, and our will is ironclad.
We're not just hitting what they have, we're destroying their ability to rebuild.
President Trump has said he wants to play a role in choosing Iran's next supreme leader. He says the son of the Ayatollah is not an acceptable choice. And lawmakers are demanding an investigation after a Haitian man seeking asylum in Massachusetts died in ICE custody in Arizona. In a letter, Congresswoman Ayanna Pressley and Senators Ed Markey and Elizabeth Warren say Emmanuel Damas was placed on life support after being diagnosed with pneumonia last month. His family says he was moved back to detention days later. They say they were not given an update on his condition until he was hospitalized again and then later died. Senator Markey says he is demanding full accountability from ICE for his death. We are in an alert this morning as we deal with a messy, wintry mix outside and dangerous road conditions for your morning commute. We are taking a live look out across downtown Fitchburg here, thanks to Fitchburg Access Television. And with lots of snow and slush on the ground there, for a timeline on the snow and the rain, here is Jason Michael with that next weather forecast.
What an interesting past several hours here, friends, going back to the drive at 5 where most of the conditions began to go downhill here. We've expected roughly around an inch of rain here. In some areas got a little bit more, but most areas got less than an inch of rain. For the most part, the South Shore Cape and even the islands there gobbled up a lot of that moisture there. Chatham, about 0.6 of an inch there. In Marshfield, roughly around 0.6, so up to about 3/4 of an inch of rain. For the past 18 hours, this is a loop back looking at all that freezing rain, even some snow up into the Merrimack Willamette Valley, up into the Granite State. For the most part, Boston and also Point South, we're just dealing with steady, drenching, soaking, sogging rain showers. The activity is winding down right now, but it's still allowing for some drizzle and also some slick conditions outside. So this is how we're beginning our Friday morning here with that weather alert. Temperatures have also cooled down in the wake of the activity, friends. High pressures up to the north. We're pulling in northeasterly breezy winds, 10 to 20 miles per hour. So it's taken our temperatures down from the mid-30s in the city earlier this morning to the upper 20s outside here. So we stand to gain ground in the temperature world over the next several hours, only topping out around the mid to lower 30s there. There are those breezy winds coming in out of the northeast right now. It's allowing for some transference of moisture as well. Normally when you get these oceanic sort of maritime influenced winds, you have a little bit of extra moisture in the atmosphere, and that also usually allows for some extra fog. That's what we're dealing with here inside 93 North and 93 South, Route 3 South to Route 6 as well, 2 to 3 miles for visibility. This is a live picture at satellite and radar showing the activity winding down. Cloud cover will be left in its wake. We'll talk about the remainder of your Saturday and Sunday for the upcoming weekend ahead in your full weather forecast.
Well, it is the first major personnel shakeup in President Trump's second term. Kristi Noem fired as Homeland Security Secretary after a year full of wins, scandal, and controversy. Trump has nominated Republican Oklahoma Senator Markwayne Mullin as her replacement. CBS's Jared Hill has a closer look at why White House sources say Noem's drama led to the change.
Just 20 minutes before Kristi Noem took the stage in Nashville.
Good afternoon, everybody. How are you?
Introduced as Secretary of Homeland Security, President Trump posted on social media a change in her role, moving Noem to Special Envoy for the Shield of the Americas. It's the first major staffing shakeup of Trump's second term. An administration source tells CBS News replacing Noem was, quote, based on the culmination of her many unfortunate leadership failures. Among them, the fallout over how she falsely described the actions of 2 Americans killed by immigration officers in Minneapolis earlier this year.
It was an act of domestic terrorism.
She's a living, breathing article of impeachment in terms of the abuse of power and the corruption.
Sources also cite this series of ads.
I'm Kristi Noem.
Starring Noem and clocking in at $220 million. Some of that money went to a company run by the husband of Noem's former spokesperson, all raising eyebrows for even some Republicans during her Senate hearing this week.
Did the president know you were going to do this? Yes.
He did.
Mm-hmm.
But President Trump said to Reuters, I never knew anything about it.
The president, when he called me Tuesday night, the night of the hearing, when he was mad as a murder hornet, he asked me what I thought about Markwayne.
That's Markwayne Mullin, the junior senator from Oklahoma, a former rancher and MMA fighter.
We're going to get Department of Homeland Security making sure that we stay focused on protecting the homeland.
Now President Trump's nominee to take over DHS. Jared Hill, CBS News.
Well, a couple who plan to return to Boston this week now find themselves stuck in Israel, where air raid sirens are becoming more common. As WBZ's Aaron Parsegian shows us, the couple is now trying to get out.
We're in wartime. I hope there won't be any action while we're talking.
We talked with Shelley, a Massachusetts native, as she and her husband Dove rode a bus back to their Tel Aviv hotel.
We felt it was important. We needed to visit somebody.
The couple was expecting to fly back to Boston earlier this week. Now, like hundreds of thousands of other U.S. citizens, they're caught in the middle of conflict across the Middle East.
Preparing 250 meals.
In Israel, they've been volunteering while in and out of bomb shelters.
There were 2 sirens just during the 3 hours we were volunteering in the food kitchen. It was very urgent. People were running from all over because we knew this was serious.
With commercial air travel largely at a standstill, Shelley got a hold of the consulate to get on a list for flights being organized by the State Department. She says waiting a little longer is a better option right now than the alternative, a flight out of Egypt.
Very long ride. If there is a siren, if there is a missile attack, there's more risks. And I didn't want to take that.
I connected Shelley with a third option, Gray Bull Rescue,
We wait half an hour and then we go in.
a veteran-owned nonprofit on the ground conducting rescue missions.
Lots of Americans are in bad spots, and all these places have closed airspace and they're trapped.
Founder Brian Stern has led teams in and out of conflict zones, facilitating the return of hundreds of Americans already.
Our demand signal is through the roof. We have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of requests of people asking us for help. We did 100 and something today.
Whether through a nonprofit or the U.S. government, Shelley is hopeful they'll be back home safe soon.
I'm a little bit more optimistic than I was a few days ago.
Aaron Parsegian, WBZ News.
Well, investigators have identified the man whose body was found in a Shirley pond. A group of teenagers first spotted the remains in a pond Wednesday afternoon. Divers recovered several body parts from the water. One teen tells us they had been playing in the snow near the Maritime Veterans Memorial Bridge when they made the discovery.
One of the officers, EMTs got his gear on, got in the water, and you could just, see his face drop, and he got all pale, and then he was like, yeah, it's a real leg.
Well, investigators used fingerprints to identify the victim as 69-year-old Peter Dagan. They say he had been living at a pre-release house in Rockland after serving time at MCI Shirley. They believe he was targeted. Anyone with information is asked to call police. Well, we have some breaking news out of downtown Boston, where an investigation is underway after an Omni Parker House employee fell 20 feet down a ventilation shaft. Police tell us the victim suffered injuries but was conscious and alert when help arrived. Fire officials were able to extract that man from the ventilation shaft and rush him to an area hospital for treatment. We do not know the extent of his injuries at this hour. We're also told Boston Inspectional Services are on scene investigating. Well, security video from South Boston shows a man walking around and locking eyes with a camera on Telegraph Street. The homeowner tells us he installed the camera after a series of break-ins in the area last week.
It's crazy, just kind of creepy and scary that people just start, breaking in the houses and it's crazy. It's just crazy.
Well, nothing was taken during the incident that was caught on camera. Police aren't sure if the recent break-ins are connected. New England has spoken, and Dunkin' is here to stay. Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. responded to Governor Maura Healey and Dunkin' customers after extreme backlash when he said he might pull certain ingredients from the market. He is now taking a lighter approach, saying, quote, no one is taking away your Dunkin', but it isn't reasonable to ask whether a drink loaded with 180 grams of sugar is safe. Still to come on CBS News Boston, one politician's new idea to get rid of daylight saving time for good. And I have some ideas to keep you busy in this week's to-do list.
Hoping to find some kid-friendly fun this weekend?
Take the family to Gloucester's Hammond Castle Museum on Saturday for hands-on learning and deep dives with the Mad Scientist. Kids will enjoy an interactive science spectacular complete with flying beach balls and dry ice, and then they'll get their own chance to make some magic with science. If you want to turbocharge your Saturday night, head to F1 Arcade in the Seaport to watch Formula One's first race of the season, surrounded by fellow F1 fans. Admission includes drink tokens and free food and a chance to get behind the wheel on a simulated F1 course. And celebrate International Women's Day with a Sip and Shop event in Beacon Hill Sunday. Women-owned brands will set up shop at the Liberty Hotel to showcase their wares all day long. Stop in for brunch and stay to network, browse, and enjoy a complimentary wine tasting.
I'm Brianna Pitts. That's this week's to-do list.
Oh boy, we are waking up on our Friday morning with some pretty crummy conditions outside. If you're willing to brave the conditions and the travel conditions particularly, I hope the boss is happy. Welcome to your Friday, everybody. The first Friday of March, and is also National Employee Appreciation Day. Temperatures in the 20s and 30s outside right around the Boston area. We're dealing with northeast winds, a bit breezy though, roughly around 15 to 20 miles per hour. So we're allowing for a slog of activity as well as fog to manifest across the North Shore and South Shore, mainly on 93 northbound north of the city and Route 3 southbound once you get south of the Braintree split. It's about a 1 to 2 mile visibility for the South Shore right now. Look at all this mess we're beginning to wave goodbye to as it pushes further out into the Gulf of Maine and begins to disintegrate as well. High pressure is a stabilizing force, friends, and so even though it's up to the north and east of us right now, we're dealing with that right side flow coming back in, dragging down those northeasterly winds. Again, they are stable, but again, the atmosphere is really sort of kind of uprighted right now with a lot of cloudy skies and chilly winds, keeping our temperatures for the most part in the 30s again today. It's been a very interesting start to the month of March here. We've only had about a couple of days of being above average with those 50s for the past couple of days. At least yesterday we were in the 40s as well, but a couple of days were actually a bit more mild. So we are expecting today to be below average before milder weather begins to move back in, and we actually begin to see more of those warmer than average conditions. National Weather Service is keeping our winter weather advisor in effect as of right now, but I'm expecting that to expire a bit early. 12 p.m. later today is supposed to be the cutoff time, but I think we'll begin to wave goodbye to that over the next couple hours as conditions are set to improve. Unfortunately, though, a lot of the clouds stick around for the remainder of our Friday. Not necessarily a bad date night if you have a date later on this evening or plans for your Friday night here, but again, it's going to be cloudy and not going to be that starlit type of sky here. Saturday morning opens up with some pretty chilly conditions, more of the 30s greeting us again by tomorrow morning. 40s will begin to move in by tomorrow afternoon, but cloud cover will unfortunately not go that far away. A lot of that sticks around as well. We have to wait for a cold front to move through for tomorrow evening, and that'll kick the remaining clouds on out. So your weekend forecast, a bit milder tomorrow, even milder for us on Sunday, as we are expecting temperatures by Sunday afternoon to roughly be more than 20 degrees warmer than what they are today. Also on Sunday, we spring forward an hour. A lot of people don't like that, but if you enjoy the longer days, you can also enjoy that 6:42 sunset set to arrive by the end of the day on Sunday as well. Here's a closer look at what we're going to be expecting for the overcome weekend here. We are expecting lingering clouds across the northeast from the DMV area all the way through Philly, New York City, even Hartford, over the Boston, and even north up to Bangor. Southerly winds will also take shape for tomorrow, and this is why temperatures are going to be just a little bit warmer. Some developing fog as we push towards the afternoon and evening hours tomorrow, and a round of shower activity will be raking across the area, and maybe a couple rumbles as well. Cold front pushes south and east by the overnight hours for us on Sunday, and that'll kick the remaining clouds out to allow for a much brighter and warmer start to the work week. Low 60s Monday and Tuesday. Though mild, we're also expecting a few showers by Wednesday and Thursday.
Well, daylight saving time begins this weekend with clocks springing ahead an hour early Sunday morning. The annual time change is unpopular among Americans, with a recent YouGov poll finding 64% of people would prefer for the practice to end. One Florida lawmaker has proposed an alternative. He wants the U.S. to split the difference by eliminating daylight saving time and moving standard time zones ahead by 30 minutes. The bill was referred to a House committee. Well, a millennial boy band is reuniting, promising their best performances yet, and Disney believes a green lizard could hold the key to box office success. Gwen Baumgartner has your Eye on Entertainment report.
Aliens not only exist, but have been living amongst us since the 1996 Summer Olympics.
What happens when an off-the-grid conspiracy theorist goes on a cross-country road trip with his estranged brother? Well, a whole lot of chaos. Actor Dustin Milligan reflects on his role as Luke in the new film Operation Taco Gary's, a sci-fi comedy.
He still loves his brother ultimately, and he knows that his brother is, despite all of his flaws, he's also a good person who is also trying to do the best that he can. But it's an important thing that we should be reminded of.
Operation Taco Gary's is currently in select theaters. It will be available digitally on March 24th. Boy band B2K is back, returning to the stage for their upcoming Boys for Life tour alongside rapper turned actor Bow Wow. The band, known for its hits Bump 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 and Bada Boom, says they put aside their past disagreements to create an unforgettable reunion.
I personally feel like this is the best project that B2K has ever put out. Like, truthfully.
The Boys for Life tour kicks off tonight in Kentucky. A viral meme is slithering its way to the silver screen.
Over here! Your life is in danger. You must do exactly as we say.
Tom Lizard is one of the stars of Hoppers, a new animated comedy. Disney producers hope his unexpected fame will help promote the movie.
We started out with our Tom Lizard. He was at the end of Elio, and he became a meme, and that was not something that we planned, and that was huge for Tom to get out there.
The green reptile has made appearances at the Super Bowl and even commercials for the Olympics. Watch him and Hoppers in theaters now. That's your Eye on Entertainment. Gwen Baumgartner, CBS News, Los Angeles.
Well, truly a historic sighting. The New England Aquarium's aerial survey team has spotted blue whales off of Massachusetts. And as WBZ's Mike Sullivan tells us, it's the first time a blue whale has been spotted around New England.
The ocean is an abyss. The vast majority still a mystery to scientists, yet researchers with the New England Aquarium have made quite a discovery.
Our aerial survey team spotted blue whales 2 days in a row off of New England.
They are an endangered species, with roughly 400 to 600 whales in their northwest Atlantic population. Typically, they are spotted in the summer off the Canadian coast. This is the first time their research has documented them during their southern New England survey, the latest sighting coming 15 miles off of Martha's Vineyard.
Kind of make us think that, relatively speaking to other places around, that this might be an area where blue whales are finding food right now would be my best guess.
The whales eat krill, a small shrimp-like animal. Researcher Orla O'Brien saying changes to ocean currents can impact where krill thrives and thus where whales travel to find them.
I think it's likely that climate change plays a role in the distribution of these animals, meaning like where we see them or where they're going.
What's not known yet is if the Massachusetts coast is their latest dining locale, or if they'll be repeat customers. In Boston, I'm Mike Sullivan, WBZ News.
Coming up in the next hour, we'll be carrying the hearing for Karen Reed, who is heading back to court today in a civil case brought against her by the family of John O'Keefe. Good morning. It's 8:53. I'm Brianna Pitts. We have today's top stories, but first, meteorologist Jason Michael is here with a look at that next weather forecast. The rough weather we've had this morning is going to move out, Jason.
Yeah, we're back to stability over the next couple days or so here, but cloud cover will be lingering here, friends. We wave goodbye to all that messy weather that we experienced late last night. Conditions remain raw for the remainder of our Friday. More 40s are popping up for the upcoming start to the weekend. So we'll be in the lower 40s and mid to upper 40s again for tomorrow. Some sun peaks again tomorrow, though cloud cover will linger. We are expecting a few rumbles by tomorrow evening, with much milder weather arriving for us by Sunday afternoon. We are also allowing for this cold front to swing on through to kind of cause a couple spot showers by tomorrow evening. I mentioned earlier that we are also expecting some rumbles. South winds will be elevating, and we're going to have a difference of two different air masses, so a few rumbles possible by the late evening and the overnight hours. Back to stable conditions by Sunday, and sunshine to kickstart early next week. The second full week of March will feature much milder conditions. 60s for the start of the week next week on Monday and Tuesday. 50s, though a little bit wet by Wednesday and Thursday, Bree.
Okay, Jason, thank you. We'll get a check of the roads. It has been a really rough commute filled with jackknife tractor trailers, rollover crashes. We have seen a lot of crashes clear. That's good. One that is still in place, 495 southbound up in Merrimack. A tractor trailer jackknifed after exit 115 for Broad Street. So that has the right lane blocked up in the Merrimack area. We also have an overheight truck being reported here in Boston as well. This is right before you get onto Stero Drive, it looks like, on the lever connector, so you might notice some delays in that stretch. Well, Karen Reed is heading back to court today for a hearing in the civil case brought against her by the family of John O'Keefe. Here are your top stories. Reed's legal team asked for the hearing to address an emergency request by the O'Keefes for a temporary restraining order to keep Reed from getting her cell phones back. They were taken during a witness intimidation investigation into blogger Aidan Carney, known as Turtle Boy. The family wants the phones analyzed because of a recording of Reed allegedly saying that she was dead because of what's on them. But Reed's lawyers say Reed did not say that and that the recording is illegal. They also say a judge already denied a search warrant for the phones. You can watch those proceedings live starting at 9 a.m. on our streaming service, CBS News Boston. The Coast Guard is searching for one missing crew member after a fishing boat capsized off of Provincetown. Search teams first received a report about a problem with the Yankee Rose around noon yesterday. There were two people on board at the time. One was found unconscious and one rushed to the hospital. Lawmakers are demanding an investigation after a Haitian man seeking asylum in Massachusetts died in ICE custody in Arizona. In a letter, Congresswoman Ayanna Pressley and Senators Ed Markey and Elizabeth Warren say Emmanuel Damas was placed on life support after being diagnosed with a pneumonia last month. His family says he was moved back to detention days later. They say they were not given an update on his condition until he was hospitalized again and later died. Senator Markey says he is demanding full accountability from ICE for his death. The MBTA says it is collecting more commuter rail fares despite ongoing gate problems at South Station. General Manager Phil Ang says ticket validation is up more than 40% from December. The T's been cracking down on fare collection across its system over the past year. Ang says he has no plans to raise commuter rail fares right now, but is instead focused on making sure customers are paying for and activating tickets. This has been a WBZ News Update. If you're watching us on CBS News Boston, we'll be back in a few minutes.